Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping in with me today. This week in Westier Township, there is going to be our regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting on Wednesday, July 16th. And just prior to that meeting at 6:30 p.m. will be a special public hearing on two ordinances that came from the Planning Commission last month. One of those ordinances is Ordinance 462 for solar energy facility regulations. They ultimately voted to not recommend it. They thought it felt rushed. They thought there were some inaccuracies in there that needed to, at the very least, needed to be vetted out. So it'll be interesting to see what the supervisors do with that. I want to highlight for you guys today a moment of what was, in my opinion, dishonesty that happened in that meeting. And it involved our assistant township manager, Joseph Shook, and at the beginning of the meeting, he was saying one thing, and at the end, he was forced to say something completely different. I'm going to highlight that part of the discussion here for you. Now, we're obviously going to be looking at just a short piece of a longer meeting. If you prefer to watch the whole 30-minute uncut discussion on the solar ordinance, I will make that available in a separate video after I publish this one. Here we go.
The way this came about, this whole solar farm issue, is Mr. Rob's office was alerted to the prospect that there are several solar energy companies that are interested in parcels within Westier Township. With that said, it caused us to look at our ordinance and realize that we have very little, if nothing, related to solar farms. And I'm talking about the large-scale, multi-acre, the developments that you see. So this is meant to address that because, as you all well know, if we do not have anything in the ordinance regulating a use, then if an application came in, there was really not much the township could do to regulate that use. The issue is, at least from a zoning perspective, one of the big problems that could arise is, we talk about right now the proposal is for it to be in just the R district, which is the far northern part of the township. As it currently stands, without an ordinance, a developer could find a acre parcel that meets their needs in R2 or R3, and these could be placed next to a housing development such as Cedar Ridge or Grouse Run, because Cedar Ridge is R2, Grouse Run's R3, but there is a parcel, I believe it's 45 acres in size, that borders Cedar Ridge. So that's one element of this that this ordinance hopes to address, is preventing that possibility from happening. The other townships that have had these come in, that's one of the big issues with solar energy is getting it to the grid. So another element that Westier works in against us, I guess you could say, is we are far away from what would be their transmission point for energy. So any solar farm that came in, and I'm talking the large scale, I'm not talking about the accessory uses, on roofs and that kind of thing. But if a solar farm itself did come in, the probability that there would be on-site battery storage is high. And that's where the danger with these comes in, because those are lithium-ion battery storage containers. And they're highly combustible. All that comes into play. So that's another element that this is meant to at least address in some way. That's just a few of the points. Again, as Mr. Rob's as his firm is seeing with other clients, that's what's come up in the discussions and the blowback from residents in those townships. That's what they've brought up.
Okay, you just heard Joseph Shook say that if we don't pass anything, it's going to be the Wild West, and people are going to be building these solar farms next to Cedar Ridge, next to Grouse Run, and that's why we need to push this through as quickly as possible. Now fast forward a couple minutes later.
Just legal question, I guess, though, as far as So in current ordinance though, would this not fall under a conditional use since the use in our ordinance is not defined?
Since the use is not defined, then it would fall under the category of all other uses. And and for that category, it's not allowed in any district except, I believe, in I, and it's conditional. So if a developer walked in today, for example, with an application for a solar farm, that application would go to a zoning hearing board.
Under I as conditional.
And only under I as a conditional, yes.
Am I understanding?
Yes, from a land use perspective, it still would it would go to a zoning hearing board. It's just all the other elements that, again, as I mentioned, don't mean to keep repeating myself, but those elements would not be applicable. So, like I say, size, studies, those kind of things would not apply
But it can only occur in zoning district I
as a conditional use.
as a conditional use.
Mm-hmm.
Only an I. He says it so matter-of-factly. Does he remember 2 minutes ago when he was telling all of the planning commissioners that it could go in any residential district? It could be built right next door to your house in Cedar Ridge. Do you remember him saying that? Oh, it could go into Grouse Run. It could go into any R2, any R3 zones. I mean, this is obviously just my opinion, but he had to have known, right? He knows it now. He's just stating it. He had to have known it 2 minutes ago when he was saying the exact opposite. He realized he was caught, and he was wiggling his way out so that he wouldn't look foolish. That can't happen in local government. The planning commission has to be able to trust the township manager and anybody that he delegates to represent him at these meetings. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I think the last thing we have to bring to the table, though, before we adjourn today is just to ask ourselves why he would say something that wasn't true. Or something like this. In my mind, maybe a supervisor or a township manager, or, somebody may have put pressure on him as he goes into this meeting saying, this is our ordinance. We crafted it. It cost us a lot of money to do this. Make sure it gets passed. And so he goes in there and just starts trying to scare everybody and hope that they will rush to approve or to recommend this ordinance. Listen, everybody, I'm going to post the 30-minute uncut discussion that the Planning Commission had on this solar ordinance. It's worth your time to go check out and see all the great things that your neighbors walked up to the microphone and said and shared with everybody about this ordinance. And I really want to encourage you guys to show up on Wednesday, 6:30, at the township meeting. Bring a cup of coffee, bring your friends, and just sit back and watch it all happen. It's usually entertaining. So I really do hope to see you there. And again, I'm so thankful that you decided to spend this time with me. I will see you next time.